This video is very, very important for ICP holders. Listen, today we're going to be breaking down a couple of important factors, and we are going to predict price actually exploding in the very, very near future. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only ICP. Okay. Now, look, I'm making this video right now because I believe ICP is going to explode very, very soon. And once it does, it won't really slow down. Okay. Once it does, it won't really slow down. Right now, we are on the monthly. Sure, if you look right now, it does not look too pretty. Some might debate that this is actually quite bearish, but I've seen this type of structure play out multiple times where it kind of just goes sideways. It kind of doesn't look the best. And then we just have extremely, extremely strong bullish candles. Okay. If we actually, take a closer look too, we can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even though right now, technically, we're in one of the months only, halfway through, you could already say that we have been holding the zone for roughly 5 months. We've roughly been holding, let's just say $4.75 zone for 5 months, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Which means I believe this is going to be the bottom for ICP, right? I believe these are going to be the bottoms. If there was a worst case scenario, then it would be a fake out, right? If there was supposed to be some type of dump to the downside, it would be a fake out to possibly take out liquidity, but it wouldn't be very, very sharp. At most, it would be like $4.12. And then I would expect extremely aggressive momentum to the upside. Okay. Kind of something like this. You see how this, right? It was building up and down. And then we had a little bit of a sell off. And then all of a sudden, it's like, all right, go, 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 right? For multiple weeks, it was just go, go, go. And it practically went from $6.90 all the way to 15.60. Okay. But, ladies and gentlemen, overall, the message is the same. Whether or not we get a mini fake out, the message is the same. I do believe we will be breaking out sooner than later, right? Because when we go and take, let's say, a trend line from this March high to even this high over here of June, we can see we are looking and we can see we are getting squished, right? We are getting squished, which means it is going to be time to decide for ICP sooner than later. I'm talking about a few short weeks at maximum. I wouldn't say more than a month, to be honest. Even if it was more than a month, it would probably be like only 5 weeks. Like, I really do believe it is time sensitive, right? And it could be even sooner. It could be even sooner because, ladies and gentlemen, we saw it for something like XRP, right? And look, we saw price action was getting squished, right? We had very, very nice, very, very nice, sideways movement for many months now for XRP, right? We had this support and then we were getting squished, right? We were getting squished, something like this, right? You could even argue like this, it doesn't really matter, but we were getting squished and XRP had to make a choice. Technically, there was still some breathing room, but you can see, right? It was a little bit dull. Last week, it just exploded. Okay. And this is a sign for what's going to come for a lot of coins as well. Because you have to remember something like XRP, it is going to be moving first. It is going to be a few short weeks ahead of everything else because it's a big market cap coin. Okay. Things like Bitcoin, of course, always move first. And then you have your big market cap coins like Ethereum, Solana, XRP, a few other big boys. And then usually the more medium cap coins, right? They follow a few short weeks behind, which is why I genuinely believe ICP's time will be here, right? We will be discussing, what I believe we are, right? Where we are right now. We have discussed this in previous videos, but just in case, I've been seeing a lot of new ICP subscribers, right? The ICP views have been going up. So we're just going to talk about this, just for 1 or 2 seconds, just in case, there's new people that don't, know what I'm talking about. When we look at the weekly, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that we have one weekly candle here, another one here, right? In terms of tops, right? We have something very, very similar. we have one over here, we have one over here. Okay. Then, ladies and gentlemen, we pretty much have some type of support, right? We have some type of support. The support gets wrecked. It fails to go up and continues to go lower. The support gets wrecked. It fails to go up and continues to go lower. Okay. Right. We can see that. We can see all of that. But after that, right, after this type of move, we start to go sideways and eventually we start breaking out, right? After going down, what's happening? Well, we start to go sideways consistently and now expect for us to be going up. And we can see, right, once we start going up, we create very, very nice, relevant new highs. Now, of course, technically all these price action, right, is right here on the left side. But when I say relevant, I mean within the last couple months, year or two, right? Our last like real relevant high is practically March of 2024. Okay. And I expect for that to get overtaken fairly easily, right? Because if we were supposed to compare what this top is to this, it is literally over here, right? It is literally over here. Boom. And we can see this top was at $8.22. And this one went to pretty much $21. So it was like 2 times higher, right? It was like 2 times higher. So if we got something similar, then we should be looking to go even to this zone over here, boom, this weekly order block of somewhere around $34, right? And like I said, that doesn't mean that's the top, right? That doesn't mean that's the top, but that would just be a whole nother, structure like this and structure like this to the upside, right? I do believe, however, though, when we do go to the upside and if we do start seeing a sell-off, it's not going to be something that takes a year, right? I don't believe that. If anything, I actually do believe it's going to be a couple of weeks before we then continue to move upwards. You have to remember something like altcoin season moves in bursts and it moves very aggressively. Okay. I mean, very aggressively, right? Last time when altcoins started to pump, it's because, ladies and gentlemen, in 2021, right, pretty much it topped out and then it sold off roughly like 12% over the span of 4 to 5 weeks. Okay, so we saw, you know, a lot of coins do very good. In this scenario, it would be like ICP going from our $5-6 zone to that $30 zone, right? That's what that move would be, right? This move would be that move what we just talked about, going from the $5 to roughly $30. And then of course we have sideways movement, right? So we would see a little bit of a sell-off, we would see a little bit of a retracement, but then we would be building up for the final leg, which is that's going to be ICP's biggest move, right? That is going to be ICP's biggest move. So if we do get something that plays out exactly like that, then we could expect to see nice pumps all the way roughly to $30 to $35, see some type of sell-offs and sideways movement for a couple of weeks before we get our final leg to the upside, right? And ladies and gentlemen, my conservative price prediction this cycle is going to be, once again, $75, right? In terms of market cap, that is also more than realistic, right? That is more than realistic. That's around 35 to 40 billion market cap. And in the event where things go absolutely nuclear and, crazy, I do think, right, ICP could be even be hitting, next level zones, right? We could be looking to take out these highs over here of $136, and we could be looking to be even taking out this zone over here, which is practically the last relevant zone of $163, right? You could debate this one over here, but that would require also a lot more money. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think. I think, in a conservative world, in a realistic world, we're going to hit that $70 mark, but in a very crazy, lots of money, world's going crazy world, we could be hitting that 135 to $165. But yeah, ultimately, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is what I want to show you. I do believe ICP is ready to move over the next few short weeks. And once it does, it will be something like we experienced back in late 2023 and early 2024, where we kind of just consistently start grinding our way to the upside.